Is George Karl onto something? So he put out a tweet last night about the Nuggets and about Nikola Jokic sitting out these last 5 games. And we've debated how much of this is he's legitimately hurt, how much of this is maybe being used as an excuse to give him a late season break, or is it something else? Here's what George Karl had to say via Twitter. Quote, I can't tell you what the Nuggets are doing. If I had to guess, they are trying to avoid a first-round matchup versus Golden State and maybe Minnesota and the Clippers.
What, so we were trying to avoid everyone?
Well, no, not everybody.
I mean,
but
that's 3 teams.
Well, but here's I think what he's going at is the idea that the Nuggets would not have a problem with dropping down to the 4th or even 5th spot if it meant a first-round matchup with Memphis or the Lakers, and that they don't want to stay in the 3 spot necessarily because that would mean a first-round matchup with Golden State, the Clippers, or Minnesota. Because right now, the Lakers, Memphis and the Lakers, along with the Nuggets, are pretty much locked into one of those 3, 4, or 5 spots. Actually, 2, 3, 4, or 5 spots. Then there's a bit of a drop-off to the Warriors at number 6.
Okay.
And the Warriors and Clippers are in a tie in the loss column. Clippers are currently 7th. And Minnesota's only a game behind Golden State for the 6th spot. They're in the 8th spot. So if you're looking at the Nuggets right now in the 3rd hole, the 3rd seed, they would get the 6th seed in the first round of the playoffs. And right now, that matchup would be against either Golden State, the Clippers, or Minnesota.
Okay, a lot of numbers there. You confused
I gave you a lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers, a lot of names.
What it really
I'm very confused.
What it really comes down to, Cliff Notes version is, if they stay
Syracuse style.
All right, here we go.
Come on.
Give me a beer or shotgun, and then let's do this. All right.
Oh, if only. If only we could do it one time.
One time.
One time.
One time.
On air.
You can do anything on the radio once. At least once. Maybe more than once. But at least once. The Nuggets, if they stay in the 3rd seed, are going to play either the Warriors, Clippers, or Timberwolves in the first round. That's really all you have to basically know. Whereas if they drop down to the 4th seed or the 5th seed, then you raise the possibility of playing Memphis or the Lakers in the first round.
So you're just trying to switch with Memphis or the Lakers?
I
Where
guess
you're at right now.
That's what George Karl is hypothesizing.
Okay. I just think it's so soon to be looking at that. I mean, how many games? The Nuggets have about 10 games left, right around there. I don't know the exact number. I just think that's way too early. 9 games left? So that would have been, with 14 games left to go, you're already looking at that? I mean, don't you think that's a little premature?
Maybe, but...
And do you really do you do that? Do you operate that way as an organization?
Well,
where you're just like, okay, we're going to sit our best player, a guy that could win the MVP, and we're going to sacrifice games because 3 weeks from now we're hoping that it lines up this way. I think that's bad karma. That's bad sports karma right there. You get the gree on you for that, man. If you operate that way, I think, look, if you have 2 or 3 games left, okay, I can understand it. 14 or 15 games and you're already planning who you want to try to play and you're going to sacrifice games and you're going to sit your best player, I have a hard time going there. Now, 2 or 3 games, okay. I just think because next thing you know, you get all out of rhythm because you're overthinking things. Man, play ball. You get down the last couple games and you want to try to lose or whatever for your seeding, okay. But you can't do that with 15 games left.
To me, the biggest revelation coming out of this is George Karl acknowledging that because I assume he's not just thinking as a fan here. He's drawing on 3 decades worth of coaching. Here he is acknowledging that that's even a thought.
That's what's crazy to me.
You know, as a former coach in this league for a long, long time, he's acknowledging the possibility that the Nuggets could be thinking about this.
with that many games left.
This is a real thing. So we always talk about the idea as fans and media, hey, are they trying to rig things so that they can play this team or avoid that team? We always speculate about it, but here's a guy in George Karl who's pretty much intimating that's real. Teams do think about these things.
Didn't they do that a couple years ago? Or it felt like they did to try to avoid one team and get to another team. I forgot what it was, but it was later in the season.
Yeah.
That's
if you get down to the last couple games.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's my only issue here is with George's his thought there is that there's too many games left. I don't know. Michael Malone, he doesn't seem like he would be that type of coach. And Jokic wouldn't be that type of player. That's the other thing.
True.
Jokic isn't – you're not going to sit Jokic. He'll tell you to go you know what. Now, if you want to sit some other players, maybe they'll be like, okay, but Jokic ain't going to go for that. No, I can't buy that.
If I had to rank the teams in order that I'd like to avoid, it would be, I got to admit, Minnesota 1.
Look at you.
Yep. Minnesota 1. Golden State 2. Lakers 3. Clippers 4.
Okay, out of those four teams.
To avoid. I would have no problem playing Memphis. I'd bring on Memphis.
Oh, you're putting Memphis in there also?
Memphis, I would like to play Memphis.
They're young, they're athletic, especially if Ja's been hurt. If he's healthy, they're a scary team. It's like the Anthony Edwards. He's a superstar. He can get to the rim, he can finish. The moment's never too big for him. So when you have one of those guys, that always makes me nervous in the playoffs. But I guess most of these teams have one of those guys that we're talking about.
And you could have a first-round matchup with Memphis, and when it's all said and done, we're like, damn, we didn't want that smoke. But
certainly.
But going into it, there's a lot of unproven, untested, just who exactly is Memphis. So I would say they would be the team that I would love to play, which maybe lends a little credence to what Carl's talking about is that, maybe the Nuggets are okay with dropping down to the 4th spot. Get out of the 3rd spot.
So what do you think? Do you buy that theory?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I think they're just simply looking at Nikola Jokic's legitimate ankle. I don't even call it an injury. His ankle boo-boo as a
boo-boo.
You should have seen Stokes' reaction.
Well, because you're not calling it an injury.
I don't think it's – put it this way. If they were to play a playoff game in any of these days that he's missed, he's absolutely out there. I don't think that this ankle is a big deal, but I think it's a good excuse, along with it being a legitimate boo-boo, but it's also it's a great excuse to give him so much needed time.
How many more games?
Well, he's been upgraded. He's been upgraded to doubtful for tonight. I'm not kidding. That's
Crazy.
True. That's an actual. He has officially been upgraded from out to doubtful.
So that means he's probably not going to play, but he got upgraded. So
he's trending in the right direction.
How many more games until you become nervous that
there's something legitimately wrong?
Yeah, that this thing could linger into the playoffs.
To linger. If he missed the next 2 games.
Okay. Well, he's probably going to miss tonight.
He's been upgraded to doubtful.
But he's still doubtful.
He is still
doubtful.
He's
been upgraded, but he's still doubtful. Doubtful means you're probably not going to play.
Put it this way. They play.
Like Mark Schlereth is doubtful for today.
Correct. He's out.
And he's been ruled out. See what happens?
He's been ruled out.
Right.
But he was never upgraded to doubtful. He was ruled out.
It was just part of the story, Mike. Why do you have to be the buzzkill guy? Buzzkill Evans.
Wow,
there we go.
Why must I be so liberal?
Wow, just the story time.
So here's where I'll be concerned. If they look at it like, okay, he's not playing tonight against Milwaukee, and he doesn't play again Friday against Utah, they don't play again until next Tuesday at home against Minnesota. If he doesn't play
against Minnesota?
Although I'll tell you what, Stoke, if you really want to do this right and you want to give him –
take the next 2 games off.
You know what? Take the next 2 games off.
You might as well now.
At this point, let him –
So we got – who do we have tonight?
Milwaukee without Damian Lillard, who is
he's
got some blood clot issues. That's no laughing matter. And then they got Utah on Friday.
That's it?
And then they don't play again until the following Tuesday.
Yeah,
you know
just
what?
Sit him
down.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to see him until next Tuesday against Minnesota.
Yeah. it's time to downgrade him now back to out.
Downgrade him to out.
Yes.
He got upgraded to doubtful. Let's downgrade him to out.
See, that's what happened to Schlereth. When you weren't here, we had upgraded him, me and Simmer and Ty, to doubtful, and then now he's just been ruled out. See how easy that is?
Very easy.